So, Cuphead came out recently, and honestly, the hype around this game is very much real. Many people have been stepping into this game in hopes that they too can take control of the cups and mess around without spilling too much liquid. All jokes aside, the question remains, should you play Cuphead? Well, luckily, that is exactly what this video is going to talk about. So stay tuned as we go through the pros, cons, and other cool facts that Cuphead has to offer. Now, I will not be saying whether or not I think you should play it yourself. I don't know you. But I will, however, recommend the game to you based off of the things that I can touch on in this video. But before I dive into anything, do note that in the background I have sections of the game playing in the background. There are no plot spoilers, but the bosses are in there, some of them anyway. Another note I guess I should probably make is this video is in no way, shape, or form sponsored. That should be obvious. I'm a very small channel, but the internet is the internet, so there you all go. So let's get into this. Cuphead is classified to be a run-and-gun platforming game. Now, if you're like me, that means nothing to you. So let me tell you more in case you can't really make out what this game is about by the video playing in the background. Now, Cuphead is played in 2 dimensions, just like all of the classics, like all the older Mario games and stuff. But unlike all those older Mario games, Cuphead has you progressing through the game through a series of phase-based boss battles. Now, these boss battles are not the only thing this game gets you to do. There is also the occasional platforming, typical like run-and-gun Contra-ish style level that has you progress through a map and get to the finish line. Now, that is all I'm going to say about the level style. Now, let's move on to the art style. Now, the art style is its own specific section in this video because personally, I find it a very neat art style. Now, Cuphead takes inspiration from the original art style of, like, old cartoons. Think classic Mickey Mouse, but instead of having those mouse ears and a cute nose, you have a cup for a head. Now, all jokes aside, I personally love this art style used in Cuphead. The developers committed to this art style too, which only adds to like my excitement towards it. The developers went so far as to make it truly feel like you are adventuring through a cartoon that like may have actually existed once upon a time. Now, if you're a fan of old style cartoons, I recommend this game to you just based off of the art style alone. Now let's move on to the controls. Now, Cuphead is available on both PC and Xbox, which means you do have different control options available to you. Now, personally, I've been playing on the PC version of the game using an Xbox controller, so I'm not going to be able to comment on the keyboard and mouse controls because I have not personally used them. But I will comment that you can change every single one of your keybinds at will so that you can truly play this game in the way that you want to play. You can move everything around. Now, that amount of versatility on controls is very important to a lot of people, myself included. Now, I'm actually able to comment on the Xbox controller, so the controller's original setup does feel a little awkward, but after a little bit of practice, you can get the hang of the controller with really no problem at all. But if you do not have patience, like a lot of people that I know, then you can also change the key bindings on the Xbox controller to once again create that controlling experience that you want to have. Now, this insane amount of controller variation means that the controls are pretty much irrelevant onto how I can comment on the game. You can use the controls however you want, so we're just gonna move on knowing that controllers aren't ever going to be an issue here. Next, I'm going to touch on the difficulty of the game. Now, Cuphead has 3 different difficulty options for you to choose from. This is cool because it allows you to choose the pace that you want to play, which allows more types of players to enjoy the game rather than just the hardcore gamer getting all the fun. But that isn't really what you guys want me to say, so I'm going to touch on how I've personally been playing and how I've been finding the game. Now, I have been playing pretty much exclusively on the regular game mode because I have not unlocked the hardcore one yet. And for pretty much the entirety of my playthrough, it's been going okay. Now, I will tell you that this game has a pretty intense learning curve, and I'm going to clarify that. This game makes you think and dodge attacks in new ways in every single level. Now, what I love the most about this game is that I have never once really felt cheated when I died. When you die in Cuphead, it is going to be pretty much 100% your fault. And that's okay. Honestly, it's preferred for people like me that enjoy having a challenge, and honestly, the way this game operates in some ways reminds me of how users would progress in raiding in World of Warcraft. That is, constantly dying and going through the same motions in order to learn when and how you have to get through certain parts of fights. Now, as I had touched on, there is more than one difficulty setting, but I'm not going to talk about them in too much detail because it's pretty self-explanatory that the simple difficulty is easier and the harder difficulty is harder to complete. I will, however, on my last little bit on the difficulty of Cuphead, talk about this ranking system, or as I call it, the Get Good scale. Basically, like in a lot of other games that you have probably already played to this point, you are going to receive a letter grade based off of your performance on certain categories that the game values in each level. Now, these grades vary, it's a letter scale like I said, but a unique challenge that players like me are trying to do is get a perfect score on every single level. This provides you with a very unique replayability aspect for you to explore, as your quest for constant perfection can be thwarted literally at any time by any small misstep. Moving on once again, let's talk about the multiplayer aspect in Cuphead. Now, I have been playing a lot of multiplayer with my sister, and I must say, it is a lot of fun. The second player gets to take control of their own character named Mugman, and the story and the control options that I've touched on remain the same for this second player. Now, this second player also adds another level of comfort for players to have when they are taking on the constant slew of boss battles, as because there are now two players going through the levels. That's twice the damage, twice the health, and they are able to revive each other. Yep. So rather than have the entire level need to be restarted when your health hits 0, you can get revived. This effectively gives you, in theory, twice the amount of health. And this ability to revive, trust me, it really gives you a lot more than double health. So now I'm going to quickly touch on price because as all of us gamers know, gaming isn't cheap nowadays. Like a lot of new games cost a lot of money. Now, that being said, Cuphead, I only paid $21.99 Canadian for it, total. And this isn't one of those games where you have to buy DLC for it either. Everything that I've mentioned in this video, the 2 players, the many levels, the different difficulties, all comes for that price of $21.99. That's an incredible deal. This game gives you so much content for that price. And honestly, it's the reason that I went about buying this game, because I had heard nothing but great things about Cuphead, and then I saw the price for it and I was like, well, I might as well see what all the fuss is about. So, let's summarize this in order to help you make that final decision. Like I said, I'm only recommending here. I'm not telling you to buy or not to buy. Yet, if you're the type of gamer that likes a challenging experience, Cuphead has many different options that can challenge you. If you're the type of gamer looking for a good experience to share with someone else, Cuphead has great multiplayer options. If you're simply looking for a relatively inexpensive game to spend a good chunk of time on, well, Cuphead gives you that and then some as well. What's my personal opinion? I'm loving this game. I wish there were actually more games that did this genre justice the way that Cuphead does. I'm liking the whole boss after boss thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this game is perfect, and I'm personally not sure how someone who has very limited video game experience feels about this game. But for someone like me who's been playing games his entire life, I do love this game. I've been playing it a significant amount, and I don't really plan on slowing down for the next little bit. So there is my full recommendation on Cuphead. Up in the top right corner of your screen now is going to be a little survey for you to do. It's the little eye. 1 question long, click it, answer it. I will announce the results in the next one of these videos that I do. In the meantime, look forward to me uploading some fail compilations on the bosses in Cuphead. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some bosses to go destroy, so I'm gonna leave this one here. If you enjoyed watching this video today, leave a like on the video so I know. If you want to see more stuff from me, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss my next uploads. And until next time, guys, this is Keltick signing off. Have a casual day.
God.